Hey, what's up, guys? Alright, so it's Friday and we still have not gotten a new chapter of Black Clover out just yet. I'm guessing the release date for Sunday actually was the real release date for this next chapter, which I'm hoping going forward it goes back to Friday because Sunday does not gel with my usual work schedule. Because if it starts coming out on Sundays, I'm going to have to start doing reviews on Monday mornings instead. But yeah, as of right now, there's no new chapter out just yet. So since we don't have that to make a video about, I figured I'd make a personal video, or not a personal video, but a personal opinion video about the top 5 things I want to happen before this whole elf invasion, elf war arc ends in Black Clover. Now, I do want to point out before I start the video that this is just a list of things I personally want to see happen in the arc before it ends. Doesn't mean I'm saying that if it doesn't end up happening in the arc, that it's going to ruin the series for me or I'm going to think the series sucks or anything like that. And I'm not saying that this is stuff that you should be hoping to see or that you as a fan should expect. And if you don't expect it, you're not a fan. This is just my own personal opinions. I'm sure you guys all have your own personal opinions of what you want to see happen in the arc before it ends. And if you do, let me know in the comment section down below what your personal opinions are. Like, what things are you hoping to see in the arc before it does officially end? And we go on to the next one. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. And to start things off with the first thing on my list is that before the arc ends, I want to see the Witch Queen show up. And that's just because it's mostly coming from the fact that I actually just got caught up with the anime, and the anime just ended the whole Witch Queen arc. And after watching that, after seeing how it ends and how knowledgeable she was about the elves and how powerful she actually was, and the fact that she, at the end of the arc, seemingly came to like understand Vanessa and start to love her as like a mother does a daughter even more than she used to, I feel like that would be a perfect reason for her to come in and say, hey, you're trying to kill my daughter. I'm going to stop you. Like, that would be a perfect reason for the Witch Queen to get involved in this war because Vanessa is right in front of it. She's right there on the front lines fighting for her life and for the lives of her friends. So it would make sense for the Witch Queen, who we all know can basically predict the future with some certainty, would want to step in if she somehow predicted the future that, her daughter might die. This would be a perfect reason for her to jump in. Plus, on top of that, she is very knowledgeable about the elves. So if she were to join the fight, she could drop some knowledge to Yami, Asta, and all of them that she possibly didn't reveal the last time she talked to them about the elves, or some knowledge that she just like happened to rediscover or find out that could be vital for this fight. Plus, on top of that, even more important than anything I mentioned so far about the Witch Queen, we know from dialogue from the Witch Queen herself that only a few, not all, only a few of the elves had power on the same level as her, which means she's possibly the most powerful person we've had in the entire series up to this point. With the only person possibly being on her level or even just a little bit above it could actually be the real Lich, which is a good reason for her to actually show up and actually help out in the war, because at this point we don't have anyone who is actually on level with Lich to fight against him. So in order to weaken him enough for Asta and because it's possibly going to end up being Asta and who end up fighting against him, in order to weaken Lich down to a point where the two of them reasonably could actually defeat him, we could have the Witch Queen show up, the two of them could fight, she could get ultimately defeated, but she can damage him enough to the point where he's weakened enough for Asta and to be on par with him. And come on, I mean, you gotta admit, that would be a badass fight. Someone as powerful as a Witch Queen, even without the magic stone that she wore as an earring, amplifying her power. Someone as powerful as her going up against someone who's been built up for a long time now as being possibly one of the strongest magic users in the entire series. That's just a fight that everyone wants to see. Okay, so next up on my list is Fauna, Mars, and Fanzel. I want to see the three of them show back up in this war, especially Fauna and Fanzel. They live in the Clover Kingdom. I mean, sure, they're kind of like the outskirts of it, but they still live technically in the Clover Kingdom. So this war is directly affecting them as well. So for them to show up and actually help out in the war would actually make a lot of sense. And I'm actually surprised we haven't seen at least glimpses of them or gotten any kind of mention of what's going on with them up to this point. Plus, on top of that, we saw a few chapters ago that Elfana and Veto were actually reincarnated again. So having Fauna and Mars and possibly Fanzel show up to help out in the war could be a good chance for them to have a rematch against Elfana since she took control of human Fauna's body. It could be a good chance for them to fight against her, show exactly how much stronger they've gotten. Plus, at the end of the whole Witch Queen arc, we saw that Asta and Mars actually became friends. And Mars promised Asta, if you are ever in trouble, if you ever need any help, I will come running to be at your side and help you out, no matter what, to pay you back for helping me save Fauna. This could, now, sure, that could actually be implying something later on in the future where Asta, because Asta also said the same thing to Mars. that if he needs any help in the future, that he'll come running to him. And that could be more implying an arc that we're going to be dealing with it later on in the series, where we go to the Diamond Kingdom and help Mars reform the country. But I could see this as possible foreshadowing to what's going on right now, where Mars is going to actually come back from the Diamond Kingdom after hearing about what's going on and help out Asta and his friends, especially since he knows Fauna and Fanzel are here. He's going to want to, as soon as he hears word about it, he's going to want to come over here and make sure they're okay. And since Elfana doesn't have Salamander anymore, she is considerably weaker. So they actually would stand a better chance of defeating her than they normally would. So it's something I actually would like to see happen in the near future of the series. Okay, so next up on my list, and actually this kind of ducktails right off what we were just talking about with the fact that Veto and Fauna were reincarnated. Since Veto was reincarnated in a younger 15-year-old body, which is considerably weaker than what he was when we first were introduced to him in the series, I would like to see the Undersea siblings, Kahano and Kaido, actually show back up for a rematch against Veto. Because this will be a perfect time. They are both healed. We know the two of them were training their magic up since the last time we saw them. So now this will be the perfect time, since Veto is a lot weaker and they actually will stand a better of a chance against them. This will be the perfect time to see a rematch between the two of them versus him. And especially since they are, just like Mars and Fauna and Fanzel, they are friends of the Black Wolves. They are especially friends of Asta and Noel. So the fact that the two of them are in danger and that they live so close to the Clover Kingdom, it would make sense for them to come rushing, and the rest of the Undersea Temple people to come rushing in to help out in this war. Considering the Clover Kingdoms are under siege, the elves are attacking them, they're trying to wipe out all humans in the Clover Kingdom. It would make sense for close friends of Asta and Noel to show up and actually help them out. I don't really have much else to say about this besides the fact that I think it would actually be a really cool fight to see the two of them have a rematch against Veto, see how much they've grown as characters and how much stronger they've become. And now that Veto, like I said, is a lot weaker than he was when they first met him, they stand a better chance against him. And I don't really see any other person or any other character that we're dealing with so far in the arc that should have a reason to fight Veto besides maybe Yami or Asta at this point. So it makes perfect sense for the two of them actually show back up during this arc, during this war, to have a rematch against Veto. Okay, so next up on my list is I want to see Yuno and Asta go up against Lich. Now, I'm pretty sure this is what Tabata's planning anyway. He's planning on probably ending the arc with the two of them facing off against Lich together. Asta, the person who inherited Lich's swords, and someone who's pretty much been confirmed as or Lich's son. The two of them facing off against Lich himself would be an epic battle. It would be something that would cement the two of them as probably two of the strongest characters in the series, considering even Yami at this point probably wouldn't stand a chance against actual Lich himself at full power. And honestly, neither would the two of them at this point. So that's actually kind of ducktailing off of what I said in the beginning of the video, where I'd like to see the Witch Queen actually show up and, weaken Lich first, so the two of them can actually stand a chance of defeating him. But still, regardless of where or not she shows up, I think the series is going towards, or the arc is going towards, the two of them fighting against the Lich. Maybe somehow, we haven't seen Yuno yet, so we don't know what's going on with him. But we can tell that Asta is working up towards even more of a power-up, or some kind of new form that he's going to end up developing with this whole black form that he has. So it would actually be interesting to see the two of them at full power going up against the Lich at full power, and them somehow getting the win in a reasonably in a reasonable, realistic way. Now, what I just talked about would be an epic fight, but here's something I'm actually more excited for, and actually probably would be even more epic, at least in my opinion. And that is number 4 on my list, or not even a numerical order, but the next one on my list is I would like to see a rematch between Mereoleona and Raya. And if you were watching my reviews back when we last saw Mereoleona go up against elves, you could tell that I am a huge fan of this character. I could not stop talking about how much of a badass she is in the chapters around when she was fighting off against the 6 elves. But as we saw in those chapters, Mereoleona, even though she did ultimately end up losing that fight, she stood her own against 6 elves, including Raya. So it's understandable that one-on-one, Raya would lose that fight in an instant. There wouldn't even be a competition. But I really want to see this rematch simply because of the fact that we haven't seen Mereoleona in a long time. The last time we saw her, she was still unconscious from her defeat against the 6 elves. And I assume that Nozel, on their way back to the Clover Kingdom from the Midnight Sun's base, actually did heal her with some kind of magical item like he did with Asta. So I'm hoping that at some point she will show up again. Her and Raya will fight off against each other again. Maybe Raya somehow has gotten some kind of power up. maybe from the magic stones, maybe from being around the lich, or maybe he wasn't just using his full power when they ganged up on her the last time. But somehow, he gets some kind of power boost. The two of them fight, and it just leads to an epic battle where we get to see Leona be a badass again, and cement herself as possibly the best or the strongest, most badass female character in this entire series. Alright, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I just want to see this fight simply because I'm a Leona fanboy, and it's been so long since we've seen her. I just want to see her again in some form or capacity. Okay, and then the final thing on my list, the number 5 thing on my list, again, not in any numerical order or anything, but the last thing on my list, and possibly the thing I'm most excited to see in this arc before it ends, is I want to see a rematch between Yami and Patry. And there's a few reasons for this. The first reason is because we already saw the two of them fight before. We already saw what happens when the two of them fight, and we could see that the two of them were actually pretty close in power. They were actually pretty close when it comes to strength. And I think Yami only really won that fight because he had the help of Asta and Finral at the time. He didn't really win that fight outright himself. So this time I'd like to see a fight just with the two of them, no help, no backup from anybody else, just the two of them going at it. I like to see finally figure out exactly who was stronger between the two of them, between dark magic and light magic. And that's actually another reason why I'd like to see this fight happen, is because of the fact that their magics are opposite of each other. And I don't know what it is, but artistically, when you're reading manga and you have people whose powers are dark and light going up against each other, the contrast of their two abilities fighting against each other, clashing with each other, is usually some of the best, most beautiful artwork I've ever seen in manga fights. So that's just something I'd really like to see. I'd like to see Yuki's take on that even further developed. Plus, on top of that, we know that the two of them have actually gotten a lot stronger since the last time they fought. Yami has constantly surpassed his limits over and over again throughout the series, from the last time they fought up until this point. In fact, even just a few chapters ago, we saw him surpass his limits when he was fighting against Charlotte. So we know the two of them have gotten considerably stronger. And plus, putting aside how badass of a fight it would be between the two of them, we gotta remember that on a personal level, this is actually a really important fight for Yami to have. Simply because of the fact that, A, Patry is actually possessing the body of the person who Yami considered one of his closest friends, William Vengeance. And the fact that William Vengeance knowingly and willingly betrayed the Clover Kingdom in order to help out Patry. Yami's going to have feelings about this. He's going to want to, get closure on the fact that his best friend, one of his closest friends, is actively working with the enemy. On top of that, Patry was the one who killed someone Yami looked up to greatly, Julius, the previous Magic Emperor. So because of the fact that Patry was the one who killed him, Yami would want to seek revenge against Patry, especially since Patry didn't win the fight outright. He had to use a dirty trick of, threatening civilians and catch Julius off guard in order to actually deal the final blow. If he didn't do that, Patry would have lost that fight outright. So the fact that Yami knows that Patry killed Julius in such a dirty way, he'll want to seek revenge for, the guy he looked up to. So yeah, out of pretty much everything I put on the list, this fight, Patry versus Yami, the rematch between the two of them, is the most important. And I think this actually is something, out of everything, this actually is the one thing on the list that does have to happen in the series before the arc ends. This actually does have to happen. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for the video. That's pretty much all I have for this list. This is just the top 5 things that I personally want to see happen in this arc before it ends. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys agree with my list, if you think that any of the things I mentioned in this list are stuff that you'd actually like to see happen to yourself. And let me know in the comment section down below what you'd actually like to see happen. Like, if there's any fights you'd like to see, like, if there's someone that you'd like to see Noelle go up against, or someone that you'd like to see Zora or Vanessa fight, let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are. But yeah, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter at Manga Archives, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.